Bonjour, bonsoir, salut. We're back here in the Rendez-Vous in Las Vegas.
Vegas, baby.
Vegas, baby. And it's actually interesting because we're here for the first time for a special event that happens every year in the United States, the NBA Summer League. Today we have the chance to host one of the most talented basketball player, obviously from France. And he's going to be here to talk about his journey here in the United States as an NBA player, but also to talk about his college life back in the time. So please, everyone, welcome Joël Ayayi.
Welcome, Joel.
Hey, what's up? What's up? Thanks for having me.
Hey,
man, thanks for coming. It's sick to be here.
Can someone explain me why he does not have an accent? Why when I speak I have such a thick accent?
That's what everybody tell me. When I tell people I'm from France, usually they don't believe me.
How did you lose your accent?
I think I still have it, but I just, on the words that I use every day, you probably can hear it. But if you ask me to say a word like more complicated that I don't use like every day, I'll struggle to put like the emphasis. You can probably say. Yeah, you see, you can probably hear that. Yeah, so
that's crazy. Be like, one of the things is when I tried to take like theater classes when I was younger, when I was a freshman, sophomore in college, just so I don't like, trying to like lose this accent, but I just struggle too much. Yeah. And it's such a basketball thing, like basketball player, when you play in a basketball team, every like guy in your team have such a strong American accent and speak so much slang that you get very like used to it.
Exactly. Like it's a lot of guys from the South, for example, like when they speak, I can't even understand because they're like, like that. But then like the slang is like in the locker room, like this is all we speak. So me, I just pick up expressions and words from like everybody, and I just make it my vocabulary really.
Was it hard for you to pick up on like American slang and like the English at first when you came here?
Slang was like the easiest because that's what I hear every day when I hang around my friends. But to understand what it means and like to use it in the right like situations, that was a little complicated at first.
Because it's crazy. You said you came here like not too long ago, and like I was expecting. You said you didn't really speak English when you came here.
Yeah, like
and, like, now you were like completely fluent.
Yeah, like I was a great student back in French, but the English that we speak here is like
it's
really
very different.
So I would literally walk on campus with my hoodie and like head down just to avoid conversation. I was like that ashamed of like my English. Yeah.
But now you have to be good because like if you're in a match like and they tell you to do something, you can be like, wait, what'd you say? Oh shit.
100%. You have to be able to communicate with your teammates, like with the people outside, and like if coach said something you don't understand it, it's like almost a red flag. It's like he can't play. So
did you have like a hard time understanding what your coach was telling you, and how did you deal with that?
Yeah, so a bunch of time it's like I look at coach like, and he understand, but the thing that I was lucky with is that we have a bunch of international players at Gonzaga.
Okay.
So they kind of know how to deal with us. My time we had a guy from Denmark, we had another French guy, a guy from Japan. So really people from all over the place. An assistant coach from Spain, another one from Italy.
So the diversity really helped.
Exactly. So because it's known to be that kind of school, people around you adapt, a little bit, so it makes it easier for us. And this is also a reason why I committed down there, is because I knew that they had that international imprint and
this ethic.
Yeah.
Okay, good. No, that's great. That's great. So before you go into Gonzaga, obviously, so you're from France. You're from the south of France. First time we're having a guest from there. Bordeaux,
yes,
and I mean my whole family is from Bordeaux. Lovely. The city. That's where it's at. So, Joël, how was your experience like growing up in the south in Bordeaux? What would you remember from there?
Yeah, so I lived like maybe 15 minutes outside of downtown, but it was really like interesting because I would drive like probably like 40 minutes to 50 minutes because of traffic in the morning, to get to school. So like you get up at like 6:30, you leave at like 7:30. It was me and my two siblings. I have twins that are like a year younger than me, so we would go basically to the same school. And so you go and you drive like for like 40 to an hour. Everybody's asleep in the car in the morning, and then as soon as you hit like downtown, everybody wakes up. And it was cool. Bordeaux is really nice. I really like the city. I really like the people down there. I think that is one of the best cities in France, to be honest. You see, so
I'm not the one saying.
And I actually hear that a lot of people from Paris move to Bordeaux just because it's less crowded, less populated. and it's just like nicer, and like the rhythm is also a little slower. You know,
it's like a
not
better
as
French
fast.
Riviera to live in.
And there are a lot of opportunities there, like job opportunities, like like it's an amazing place to move, but also to go on vacation, especially because you have the beach not too far from there.
Exactly.
You have like the south side, like Biarritz, also. I did not say beach. I said beach.
I was like, wait, that was close.
Was something I also got in trouble for. I need to like beach and not like
But I feel like Americans are always being very nice when I say mispronounce it. At least they're like here to help me. So you mentioned your siblings.
Yeah.
I saw online that your siblings played basketball as well.
Yeah.
Your whole family's into it. It's cool.
Your whole family's into it. Your brother plays third division.
Yeah, so now he plays first division now.
Oh,
yeah, he plays in like Portes, so like
Portes.
Yeah, like 2.5 hours from home.
Okay.
And my sister actually like played in a couple Olympics already. Like she's 28.
She's big time. I saw that.
Yeah, she's the main one really. Yeah.
Did they have a big influence?
Yeah, especially my older sister. She's like 6 years older than me, so she really was the person I would look up to. Just like she kind of did, with my dad. For me, it was her mainly, also, and my dad. But you just follow her. You just had to follow her footsteps. She really like paved the way for me. She went to INSEP just like I did, and she's really the reason why I wanted to go to INSEP that bad. So.
Yeah, but your dad is a basketball player as well, right? So like, it's so funny that your whole family is in basketball.
It's so tough when your dad plays the same sport as you.
Because you always compare yourself to.
And his expectations are always very high. My dad played soccer, football. My grandpa played professionally as well. So it's always so much expectation. Like, you got to do this, you got to be better than that. Always going back in the car after games and always like.
Like, how parents always go like, oh, when I was your age, used to do this.
Yeah, but like I know, like when you get off from a game, you're always super warm. Like you just finished your game, so obviously you don't want to be wrong. You're probably mad. You're probably like overwhelmed. My dad didn't understand those things. He was always like, "Damn, you sucked," and I was like, "Come on, you can't tell me that." Was that the same thing with your dad?
So for me, my dad was a little more like cool about it, but like I would know early, if I played well or not. Like you know if you played well, if you don't. So you literally don't need anybody to tell you, but your dad, like you said, will tell you because he needs to like get it out of his system. So obviously, like for me, I think that early on I was like. Maybe like I was taller and a little faster than everybody, so I rarely had bad games like early on. But then like you get to like 14, 15-year-old and like everybody around you start getting better, and now there's more like bad games, and this is when you sit down and like you said, like that like 30-minute drive back home, when you sit in the car, that at some point your dad is gonna
on, 'cause you know what's about to happen.
That he's gonna talk to you about the 2-3 mistakes that you made. And I think this is also a big part of like a father and son relationship, to be able to like
it helps you grow for sure.
To be able to like you as a son to take the critics, but also for him as a father to like learn how to tell you stuff without like making you like upset or mad, and like also mixing the good and the bad in order for you to grow as a person and a player. So
yeah, for sure.
I literally had this crise d'adolescence, but I don't know if it's a thing here in the US, but because of soccer, like I had like big fights with my dad. But anyway, I'm not getting into that.
But that happens a lot.
It happens all the time. But
I was like in the gym like a month or so, and like same thing, like a dad and like a father were like getting into it. So it's like
it always happens. You mentioned you went to INSEP, which is in Paris.
Yeah.
So you lived in both Bordeaux and Paris. We're from Paris, so we know it. But what was your experience like living in Paris, being from a very different place?
So I feel like I kind of got robbed of like my Paris experience, because I was there in 2016, and it was when the terrorist attacks happened.
Right.
Yeah. So obviously the whole country kind of went in a little, kind of like a lockdown, like people don't go out as much, like security is here.
It was a lot slower for sure.
To give a little background on the terrorist attack you're talking about the theater.
The Bataclan.
The Bataclan.
Yeah.
L'attaque du Bataclan.
And the little épicerie cachère.
Yeah.
Like I was living like
and also all
a
the
mile or
coffee
two away.
places in the middle of Paris. That happened in 2016. So sorry, keep going.
But yeah, like I remember I was in the dorm, and you can hear like the sirens going on.
Yeah,
and
I remember this. I was in the street when that happened.
And like the Wi-Fi turned off at like 10, so you just put on like the little bit of like data that you have, and you're like, okay, I'll waste that data on that, because you just want to know what's happening, and you see like the cars like through the window, and like you can hear it, because like I said, I was living like maybe like a mile or two away from like one of the attacks. And so after that, obviously security is bigger, and like now to go out, you have to like your parents have to sign a paper for you to be out if you're not 18, which we weren't. So
I felt you because my dad was in the stadium during France Germany
No way.
Stade de France.
Yeah.
And I remember I texted him because the first attack was
right
during
at
the game. During halftime. Remember, there's a video of
and you can hear the like
one of the players literally stopped playing, and he's like, "What happened?"
They're literally playing soccer, and you hear a boom, and everybody stop, turn around,
and then everybody see the French president at the time, François Hollande, leaving the stadium. Everybody's like, "What's going on? Something happened."
There's a bomb at the French stadium,
and I texted my dad, and I was like, "Yo, like, did you know that the bomb just like exploded? Because they don't have service in the stadium.
In there,
because there's too many people." Exactly. I told my dad, like, "Yo, like, there's a terrorist attack right outside the stadium. Like, be careful." And that's when, at the end of the game, they told, like, don't leave the stadium.
Everybody's staying.
And they went on the field.
Yeah, everybody was on the field, and it's the same thing. Like, nobody really know exactly what was going on, but you obviously hear, people next to you say stuff, and then, and
you overthink. You start
exactly.
You're like,
people start panicking, and then
people with bombs around us. Like, they probably got inside. It's time for them to like kill everyone.
Yeah.
So it was a tough time. So your experience in Paris kind of were like different.
Yeah. I wasn't able to like 2 years. 2 years. I wasn't able to go out and like go like downtown every weekend and like explore, but I still know Paris quite well, and like I think Paris is really cool. I kind of get upset every time people go study abroad, and they just go to Paris and like they send me pictures. Oh, dude, I'm like, yeah, I wish I was there too. But yeah, Paris is a nice city.
What's your favorite place in Paris?
I really like ChampsElysees. Just like
the clubs?
a nice trip, where you can get food, you can shop, you can do a whole lot of stuff. You can just spend an afternoon down there and like.
I just like that you can walk everywhere. Like, you don't need to you don't need to like logistically think like, oh, where's my car, and to be there and then come back. It's just like
there's like 2 or 3 like metro exit, all the way.
Yeah,
so
everything
it's
is like so much easier.
Yeah,
I wouldn't drive by the Champs-Élysées.
No,
L'Étoile? Oh hell no.
Terrible.
It's not bad.
And then the huge like roundabout, like this is like
L'Étoile. The
it's scary, but you figure it out.
Yeah,
I've done it a couple times.
I've never done it. I don't like I said, I don't want to do it, so I just don't.
Can you explain us what is INSEP? So INSEP for the people that don't know what it is.
So basically, it's a huge like campus, like a closed campus, and it's a gathering of like the best like French athletes, in every like sport. So for example, we had like for judo, like Teddy Riner would be eating breakfast right next to you. Tony Parker used to go there, but it's for us basketball. It was between 15 and 18-year-old.
So it's a school for athletes. Basically.
Exactly, and it's paid by the government. So every federation, send their best athlete, and it's like nice facilities, probably the best in the country.
Yeah.
We had a chance to have school, the dorm, and the gym basically in the same campus. So it saves you, all the travel. It saves you all the like. Little stuff that can bother you if you have to go places to do all the stuff.
By yourself.
Exactly. So it's basically like everything made for you to be the most successful possible.
Nice.
Interesting. And in the group of guys that you were hanging out and playing with, how are you guys like together? Because I know like every basketball player that I know, they're already so Americanized before going to the US.
Yeah.
Then like me, for example, like they already start listening to American rap. They like already know what's up over there.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I had no idea what the US was. Like I said it during the season 1. I think this was with Pierre.
Yeah.
Like, dude, for me, like the US was only New York City. Like I had no idea the US could be something like Canton, Ohio.
Yeah, like no.
But like people like you guys already kind of know what the US is. So do you feel like you already kind of were American before going there, or no?
Yeah. So like basketball is a really like Americanized game just because of how
big the NBA is.
Yeah. Like, I feel like soccer is the opposite. It's really Europeanized because the best soccer is in Europe. So, the kids here, like, all they think about is, going overseas. And, like,
Europe.
Yeah, making it Europe. For us, it's the opposite. Like, the overseas kid want to be in the U.S. So, obviously, you start listening to American music and you watch games in American. Exactly. You want to be as close as an NBA player as you can. And it starts early. Like, I was probably like 8 or 9, and I used to play with like a headband and like a little wrist, and it's like,
you got to tell me that. I always watch basketball game, college or NBA. Why are they wearing armband?
Arm sleeve. So
like sleeve, yeah.
This is only for like style.
Okay.
Like, I wear one. It doesn't affect my shot in any way, but I just wear one because it looks good and it's cool. The tights. same thing. Some people were only one leg, some people were two. So yeah, to go back, it's just like basketball is such an Americanized sport that like for kids and us, like all the teams, you know, like I knew like a bunch of like cities in the U.S. thanks to basketball. Like I knew that Boston was on the East Coast because I watched.
You knew
Boston
all the
play.
teams and stuff. So.
Yeah, so that also like that helped me a lot in terms of like knowing the U.S. a little bit more. Yeah.
So how was your move when you moved to the U.S.? Because you only moved at 17 years old. It's funny, we all moved when we were 17. How was your experience moving to the U.S. and where did you move at first?
Oh, I moved to Spokane, Washington, which is kind of in the middle of nowhere. It's like a small city in like, and by small city I mean in the U.S. because like in France it would be a normal city, but so it's in Washington, and basically like all there is down there is like Gonzaga campus. Downtown is really cool, and like the thing that helped me a lot, like I said, as a 17-year-old, is like the community. Like the people down there are so genuinely nice and so ready to help each other, which is something that you don't see in France.
The support environment is definitely
lower. Like in Spokane, I would just walk and mind my business. I'm going to A to B. Like I don't care who I'm walking by really. If I don't know you, I'm not gonna say hi. But a couple of times that I look up, it's a lady, like smiling and saying hi, or then it's a man doing the same thing.
Yeah, the support community in the U.S. is a lot better. Like people are here to help you. So like, and especially in smaller cities like in Spokane, as you said, like they're just here. They're happy if you succeed.
Exactly.
Contrary to France.
They're not jealous.
Yeah, and it's like that's one of the main difference. It's like for me it was really, really surprising, but it's also one of the reasons I chose like Gonzaga because of like the proximity that everybody has and how willing they are to help each other out. Like I said, the whole city knows that Gonzaga brings a lot of like foreign kids, and they are all like really welcoming. They all understood our struggles, so and they like welcomed it with open arms, and they made us feel like everything was okay, everything was fine. It's always people asking, do you need help, do you need this, how can I help you, do you want to come over for lunch, do you want to come over for dinner? Like for Christmas time, for example, we don't have to, we have games, so we don't go home.
That's tough when you're 17.
Exactly. And like people invite you over for lunch, people invite you over for dinner, and like they do it, they don't get anything in return, but for us, it means so much because it's like, dang, I was about to spend Christmas by myself.
It's almost like now you're having like a second family here in the United States.
100%. That's it. Like I know that every time I go to Spokane, I'm covered. Like the people down there are so nice. It's fine, and that doesn't matter if you play well or if you play badly. Like it's genuinely about the person that you are. And like that's why for me, like every time I can go back there, I go back, and if I can help anybody, now I'll help anybody because I was helped so much, and like they really helped me become the man and the person I am. So
they helped you, like they supported you socially, right?
Yeah.
Because it's so hard to come to a new country, especially when you're underage and you can't really do anything. It's really good to like not because your family wasn't here. You moved here by yourself.
No, I moved here by myself. Like, and the first year I moved in with like 2 suitcases, and then it's like
your whole life is in there.
Yeah, you have to like get like a phone bill now, and you got to go to like whatever company to get like the phone data, and it's like at 17, like now you have to like act like if you are like basically 20 in France,
But other than like the community in the college town, like how was the college life? Because like you were. Like
you were the star of the college.
You were the star, one of the stars of your team at Gonzaga. I'm sure that people recognized you. How do you feel about that?
I think for me, again, as a French person, like you don't seek any of the attention. Like me personally, I was always kind of like, hood up and just like trying to not see anybody or not be seen at least, I guess, just because I don't really like the attention. I don't really like the fact that people would know my business or like stuff like that. So that was, I guess, the only downside of it is that people know you. So you go to a restaurant and it's like people will see what you do. People will like peek at you and all that, which is normal. But it also comes with it. Like again, like those guys like support you every time, and it just comes with the job. If you are like a high-level college athlete, and the whole city is rooting for you, which you love when you play basketball. You love that the whole city is rich.
Yeah.
So then you also have to understand that, yes, when you go to a restaurant, maybe some people will recognize you, and you just have to be okay with it.
Have you ever got scared of the cancel culture?
I feel like you have to. Like, for me, for example, like, I can't tweet whatever I want.
People do sometimes.
And they get in trouble.
Yeah.
You know, so like me, I can tweet whatever I want. I can put on Instagram whatever I want because
you have
of.
to be very careful of your own person. Like it becomes like your name and you become a brand.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
just like any other brand, you have to be careful of your reputation.
100%.
Because as you said, the beautiful part about Spokane and Gonzaga is the support system.
Yeah.
So like if the support system doesn't like you anymore because you did something wrong, then
yeah,
you know.
Yeah, that's why like it's something stupid, but like. For an athlete to post like something on Twitter, for example, about politics, like religion, anything like that, whoa, because of the whole like audience that they have, it's gonna take like way more like, it's gonna have way more value than if it's like, you know, somebody that has like 200 followers.
You're representing way more than just yourself here. You're
exactly, and
like
then
friends, Gonzaga,
your team, like your family, everything. So obviously this is something that you have to be careful about.
And I think there's more to it, is because this country is so divided between like these two parties. Sports is one place where people like kind of get together, no matter what their political beliefs are. So like if they gather around you, like if they find this one niche where they all love you or the team, or you know the team, and then you post politically, then you break the break that they found.
That's it. Right
so
here.
I think that's what it is. They just want an escape, because like it's so, politics is terrible in this country because it's like these two very separate.
Yeah, but do you think that politics should be part of sports? Because I know like the NBA is very involved in like politics, and for example like the Black Lives Matter movement.
Yeah, to me it's like, okay, at the end of the day, like no matter what industry you work in, people are human beings. Like at the end of the day, my vote, your vote, whatever is worth the same, no matter how many followers, no matter what I do in life. So why would me, for example, with I don't know how many followers, not be able to express what I feel on Twitter or like on Instagram, while you know this other person with like whatever can't do it just because they work
in different
on 9 to
industry.
5 and I'm an athlete.
And this is why sometimes it's hard to have a following, because at the end of the day you feel like every human being is supposed to be like equal, but we can't do things that other people can do. And I'm glad that you mentioned that.
Yeah, no, and like you know the hard issue is that at the end of the day everybody should be able to say whatever they want to say. But yes, when you have a following and people, you know, like they're talking like people are like more than an athlete, and it's like it's true. Like an athlete is often put in like a box, which is you only play sport. Like I only want to hear about you when I watched you on TV. That's all. Other than that, I don't want to hear about you. Basically, like all I know is that you're here to entertain me, and that's it. I go to your game, you play well, and that's it. And you know, more and more athletes are speaking up on it because they believe that they are way more than that, which we are.
You can be more than that. I mean, you know, Kobe is like the perfect example. It was more like he was a role model, and not necessarily even for people. I mean, even me that know nothing about basketball, like I knew Kobe and I knew his like work ethic, and I knew how he was, and like in that, like you guys have an insane work ethic. Like as athletes, like you work so hard and like you practice so hard, and like it's something that I think is really important to trickle down to other people, so like they can learn a little bit. So I believe that you guys are definitely way more than just athletes and entertainers. A lot of people see you as entertainers. I think you're more than that.
100%. And it's like people are mad when we voice our opinion, but it also the same thing for like actors. Like if an actor like voices his opinion, like his whole fan base is going to be divided now.
Right.
So for us, it's almost like tricky. Like it's tricky to like, you know, answer like those tough questions.
For sure.
How do you help these moments of frustration when you're by yourself and you're like, you know, it's like I feel like mad that this is happening? Do you have some type of like therapy that you're doing yourself? Do you go towards religion? Like what do you do?
For me personally, it's definitely religion. I think it's just like obviously everybody got their own, but a lot of time that's the good thing about playing a team sport. You know, you always have like 2 or 3 teammates that you really like can talk to about anything, and like again, like this trickle down, again, back to the subject of like going wherever we went at 17. It's like for us too, for example, with the team sport, it kind of gives you like a couple like friends like right away from the get-go. You don't have to like go out of your way too much to like find friends, and that helped me a lot too. Like at first, the only people I was talking to was my teammates, and I'm like, okay, I have like 10 to 12 like solid friends like that I can just go to, ask questions. Imagine if I was like just a regular like student, like then you have to like go talk maybe to classmate, because then you really know nobody. You really start at like 0 friends. Me, I had a chance to start with 10 friends. Some of them were like senior in college, junior or sophomore. That helped, really. But to go back, for me, either I go talk to my teammates, my friends, or I just go to a religion, then I'm just on my own,
Okay. Oh, that's great. That's great. I knew that. You just mentioned religion. My first 2 years, I went to like a Christian team, and that really helped me being with like Christian guys. Because like the purpose was just way more of just playing soccer. We just had a bigger picture. It was also way more about the human than like the soccer player. They were always making sure that I was okay, and even praying sometimes felt good. Like so you can talk to someone and get closer to God. And it's funny because I grew up with an atheist dad and a Christian mom, so I really had this conflict that I'm kind of still having right now. I'm playing with like public school, so right now we don't talk about God, but sometimes it feels great to talk to someone. So now the NBA, it's a topic that like, of course everybody wants to hear about. You were undrafted in 2021.
Yep.
But you still ended up playing for the Lakers and their G League. So how was that experience?
So it was pretty interesting. Going undrafted but signing with the Lakers, which is like maybe the most famous team in the league, was really, really fun. I get the chance, to be around like my favorite player, LeBron James. So that was really nice. And then ended up going to Washington, which is again totally different. The rosters are different. The people you're around is different. The city is different. The attention that is put on a Lakers player is different than a Wizards player, obviously. So it was fun. And then, playing in the G League, just being able to basically like be in a like development league and just work on my game, work on myself with scouts watching, the whole year was also fun too. I think it's part of the process, it's part of the grind. And here I am today, just still on that grind. But
do you think LeBron James is the GOAT, by the way? Because I know you said
yeah, I believe so. To me, it's for sure.
So LeBron above Michael Jordan?
Yeah.
Wow, interesting.
Easy.
Interesting. So keep going after you went to the Wizards.
But yeah, and it's like the development league, like so the G League. It's basically like 28 teams out of 30 have won, and it just allow like players, young or not, to like stay in the NBA mold, and stay under the eyes of all the scouts. Because again, like when you play well in the G League, there's a good chance that either the same team is going to call you up or somebody else will call you up. So this is basically like, we're talking about MLS Next Pro. This is basically the same thing. This is a league for mainly the young guys to develop and have playing time if they can't have the playing time.
And get experience also as well. Yeah. MLS Next Pro is the second division, by the way, of soccer here in the United States. And G League is as well the second division. Yeah. And now, like we're in Vegas at the Summer League 2022, and they say 2K23. The thing I still don't understand why, but I guess that's the way it is.
Money. Sponsorship,
Money. What a big.
It's kind of like the new cars, like 2023 cars. I'm like,
it's always with video games too.
Yeah.
So like FIFA,
it helps.
They just want to be ahead.
Yeah, I guess you want to be in
taking
the future.
a head start,
And now you're with Atlanta Hawks.
Yeah.
Okay, you you started yesterday. Played very well, by the way.
Yeah, it was a good game.
Thanks for the invite. What do you expect from that Summer League? What do you want to do? Obviously, you want to be signed, but what are the goals here?
So, again, Summer League is just a great way for us, especially young guys, like to go and showcase your skills. It's like 2-3 months away from the season, so you can show everybody what you've been working on, and just show that you improved and that you got better and that you listen to the feedbacks that you had during the whole year. So it's always a really, really important time of the year for like all the guys that went undrafted or like that are on the verge of getting a contract. It's a lot of guys. It's like 30 teams, 15 players a team, so 450 guys fighting for probably like to be honest, like 25 spots. Like there's probably 25 spots in the league right now.
Are you close with these guys that you're literally in competition to become like
So you obviously like hear of everybody, during the year. A bunch of guys playing in the G League, a bunch of guys played overseas or like just come out of college. So you kind of know everybody, at least by name. But yeah, at the end of the day, everybody's fighting for like a few spots. And like if you divide those 25 spots, it's probably 5 spots at the point guard position, 5 spots at the center position. So, and you have to think of the guys that are not playing Summer League because they think that they're, a little closer. Like, so it's a whole lot of people fighting for a whole lot of like, little opportunities. Like it's like I said, 25 spot would be nice to say that.
What kind of competition is it? Is it like a toxic competition or is it kind of like a
or healthy?
Yeah, was it a healthy competition?
I'll say both, to be honest.
Yeah. Depends on people.
People's lives are on the line, so some people will not play a little dirty, but some people will like be a little more selfish. It's in some plays in the basketball. You need to do that one pass, but you won't do it because you want to be the one making the play. Yeah. So I'd say that would be kind of like the toxic part, but at the same time, it's also like it has to be healthy because otherwise, everybody look bad.
You still have to be a team player at the end of the day.
So, and again, in those like 25 spots, nobody's looking for a guy who's going to be a superstar. People are looking for players that are going to do, the dirty work, that are going to do those passes that they're looking for, that are going to like work hard in order to complement those main players that are already on the roster and making like millions. So making like tons of millions.
Eventually
so,
you get there.
Yeah. So this way, I think it's a little tricky. It's healthy and unhealthy.
Interesting.
But yeah, I think like me, for example, last year where I struggled was like I was a little too healthy. I was a little too nice.
You were too nice.
I was a little too much like, oh, like, it's fine, I can't pass the ball, for example, the ball is going to come back to me at some point. No, the ball don't come back to you. Like, you can ask anybody that know basketball. Summer League is a place where people just get their shots up, People just do their things because everybody's trying to showcase themselves.
Interesting. Well, Joël, obviously, you're French. I am. So Tim is. So I think it's a good time to learn some French and some French 101 time.
This is some French 101.
French 101.
You're going to test my French skills, too.
It's been a minute you haven't been back home. You said 3 years, right?
Yeah, 3 years, yeah.
So, obviously, there's different dialects and different accents in French. We have the one in the north, we have the Parisian one, we have the one in the south. And you're from the south. So, we're going to talk about some expressions that you use in Bordeaux that we did not use in France.
And it's like only around Bordeaux, which is very localized. It's very fun.
Yeah.
Very localized. So, for example, the first one that I'm going to start with is the huge debate.
Yeah.
How would you call a chocolate croissant?
I was saying chocolatine every day of the week.
See, Parisian. Oh, you lived in Paris, so you should know. But like we say, pain au chocolat.
Pain au chocolat, which is like chocolate bread.
Yeah.
And for us, it's like a huge fight between the north and the south.
Yeah.
Pain au chocolat and chocolatine. But again, not the chocolate croissant. Please, if you're from a different place.
That is,
Just pick,
that's just not it.
Just pick one of the two. Another one, Tim. What do you think of?
There's one that I love is like when you go to a grocery store and you ask for a bag.
Yeah.
How do you call that?
In push.
How do you call that in poche? When the poche is literally like this.
Une poche is the Parisian translation of une poche is like a pocket, but yours is like a shopping bag.
Exactly.
Un sac.
Like,
Un sac.
It is funny because now even me, like, I haven't said the word in a while, but like, obviously saying like une poche for like un sac is kind of crazy, but it's just what we're raised to, That's
when you went to Paris, did you say une poche and like people looked at you a little weird or?
So a couple times, yes, but then like obviously after 2 years, I'm like, okay, I have to adapt. I'm thinking, okay, if you come to Bordeaux,
I'm gonna get beat up if I'm starting.
If you go to Bordeaux and you don't say chocolatine, I'll look at you funny. So I go to your city, I'll adapt to you.
Nice. The one that like stresses me out the most, and I always go almost every year in Bordeaux, is the one gavé. That's the one that's like when you think of Bordeaux, gavé. Gavé means like c'est trop, genre c'est trop, it's like a lot.
Like it's a lot.
C'est gavé bien.
Yeah.
For example, gavé means like if you take the word as it is, gavé means like gaver les oies.
Yeah.
So when you gave an oie, it's basically you put
you feed them.
You feed them.
That's when you're like feed them, basically like stuff them until they have
stuffing exactly. Gavin and stuff.
Yeah.
So you're stuffing a duck.
Yeah.
Stuffing a duck in French from Bordeaux means, oh, it's a lot.
Yeah.
Which kind of makes sense, but I'm like,
Yeah, it
wait,
makes
why
sense
the hell did you
technically.
guys come up with that?
I mean, obviously, I'm not the one that came up with it, but I'm like so happy and so proud of that expression.
You're
like,
proud of
this
it?
He's proud of it. No, that's
This
good.
is just like, this is
I mean, you
us.
gotta
Like,
be.
when you think of Bordeaux, like, gavé, like, this is, I'm just thinking the amount of time where I was just saying, like, yeah, like, c'est gavé bien, like, c'est gavé, genre, it's just
C'est-
like, that's the
It's in your
word that
blood.
we, exactly, that's
You
the
don't even
word that
think.
you use, like, all the time for no reason.
Yeah.
And it's like, it happened.
How do people in Bordeaux call like a little kid, like your kid, like? Because I know my
Tell me.
grandparents, they use it all the time. They
Tell me.
always call me, oh, les drôles.
Les drôles. Les drôles. Yeah, okay, that we do that too for sure. And it's funny because obviously I was one of them. I never called nobody like that, but like I was the one getting called like that.
We're too young
But
to like use
Too
the word
young.
drôle
Yeah.
as on other people.
But yeah, and like me, like now I go back home, I would never use it. But like this is the type of thing like when you like make fun of adults and you're a kid and you're like speak like them, you would say like, oh, les drôles, you know, you would actually make fun of the like adults for saying that.
So les drôle means funny. So they call
Yeah.
kids the funnies.
The funnies.
Yeah, exactly.
The
Yeah, the
funnies.
funnies.
There's one that it's like an expression that I heard and I think is so funny. It's like when you say "let me take you somewhere," we say "laisse-moi t'amener quelque part," and you say
You tell me.
like my friends that were from Bordeaux said "je t'apporte quelque part," "je te porte quelque part."
Ouais, je te parle, ouais, okay, yeah.
Instead of saying like I'm bringing you somewhere, it's like I'm carrying you somewhere.
Yeah. That's, I
It's
mean,
like get on my back, I guess.
that's to me, I don't even know how it would happen because that's literally like vocabulary. That's not
Yeah.
even a word that
Yeah.
we invented like Gave. It's just like,
Gavé, you invented it.
yeah, it's like
Drôle,
exactly.
same.
Yeah, but like this is really like, it's almost like one is good French and one is not good
Yeah.
French. Technically, like you don't say like je te porte que
No.
this is not good French.
It's like just hop
But
on my back, let's go to
yeah,
Starbucks.
you don't say I'm gonna carry you that way. But look, since I'm from Bordeaux, like I'll
let's
rep
do
it
it.
for sure. Yeah.
And,
So these were words and expressions, right? But there's also a big difference in the pronunciation.
Yeah.
So like you have a like the Bordeaux accent is like almost the same, except
Yeah.
when it comes to like some letters.
it's like the
So, like,
Southwest one.
yeah. So like pink, for example. How do you say pink?
Pink.
Yeah. Like the
Oh,
like the
rose, rose,
Yeah, you say
Rose.
rose.
rose,
Rose,
yeah,
rose.
rose.
We say rose. It's like
Yeah, no, I would never
it's-
say that. Yeah, that's the like, yeah, like,
Can
like,
you do your best Bordeaux accent if you speak? Can you do a good Bordeaux accent?
I don't speak French enough for that. Like, I only speak French when I'm on the phone with my parents. Like, otherwise I type it maybe when I text.
Yeah.
But I haven't like spoken French like as a first language like for like 2 days in a row, for example.
Yeah.
And like forever, like even when my siblings visited like a couple weeks ago, like I mixed French and English all the
Yeah,
time.
English. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I mean, I don't know a really good Bordeaux accent, but like
Yeah.
Rose.
Rose.
Well,
Yeah,
it's like all the O's are different. Like as you say, like we say, like if we
oh,
were
palm and pomme, like for the hand.
Yeah.
You would say like what, pomme?
Une
Une
pomme.
pomme.
La
Yeah, I
pomme.
would say like la pomme,
La
la
pomme.
pomme de main.
So,
Which
so
sounds
you
like
can,
an apple.
So you
Right.
can
Yeah.
Just like
hear-
slightly different words.
Yeah.
Like the O's are different. Like as you say, like funny, you
Yeah.
would say it's drôle, and you say
Yeah,
it's drôle.
Oh, yeah, drôle.
No.
Yeah, like
But
me, I would never
seriously.
like drôle. This is just weird.
So it's
to me.
mostly the
Yeah.
O's. It's
Yeah.
mostly the O's. But yeah, no, the Bordeaux French and the Persian French is different. Also, the word like sadai, like
Yeah.
what the hell is sadai, which means like sacrin, which means
Yeah.
like it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
But anywho, so now we're
Sketchy.
done with the learning French. There's also a lot of people this summer that are going to France, or they're like other times during the year, and a lot of people are going to Bordeaux because
Yeah.
it's one of the biggest city there. What are your 3 recommendations of places to visit there?
So number 1, I would say Miroir d'Eau, obviously.
Miroir d'Eau.
It's just like nice place for kids. Kids love it. Even like to walk around and to be around for adults. It's really fun. It's really cool. Like you don't have to worry about anything.
What about the second one?
Grand Théâtre, ouais. Grand Théâtre, c'est pareil. Ça, la vibe, elle est totalement différente du Miroir d'Eau. Mais si tu veux, si t'es un touriste en fait, et que tu vas te balader tranquille, le Grand Théâtre, c'est vraiment cool. Et puis ça va mener à mon 3e. Je viens d'y penser, je sais pas comment j'ai oublié, mais la rue Sainte-Catherine.
La
La
rue
rue Sainte-Catherine.
La rue Sainte-Catherine.
La rue Sainte-Catherine. Bordeaux, tu penses à la rue Sainte-Catherine.
Bah oui, bien sûr.
C'est ce qui est le plus proche, entre guillemets, des Champs-Élysées. c'est la plus longue rue piétonne d'Europe ou un truc du genre.
Peut-être, c'est vrai.
Donc, tu vois, donc...
Moi, je crois que c'est ça en plus.
Ouais. Donc, tu vois, j'ai oublié parce que ça fait longtemps. ça aurait dû être mon numéro 1.
He's forgetting his own
Je
city.
te jure, ça aurait dû être ma première.
You guys also have like a lot of cool stuff like right outside the border, right? Like there's like Dune-du-Pilat that's
Yeah,
right next to it.
Dune-du-Pilat, like
Saint-Émilion.
you can go like Saint-Émilion pour le vin, tu peux aller à Lacano, c'est à 30-40 minutes pour faire du surf. Cap-Ferré, c'est pas loin. Donc, il y a vraiment genre... on a vraiment de chance parce qu'on est juste à côté de l'eau.
Ouais, c'est très riche. C'est pas que Bordeaux.
Exactement. C'est un peu... Il y a beaucoup de landscapes, il y a différents landscapes, tu vois, genre... Tu peux aller dans une... comme tu dis, Saint-Émilion, tu vas avoir des vignobles à droite, à gauche, partout. Tu vas avoir les châteaux, tu vas avoir tout ça. Si tu veux aller à la plage, tu peux aller à Lacano tranquille. Donc, tu as vraiment beaucoup de choses, ouais. C'est
very diverse.
Exactement. La diversité, elle est plutôt cool. Et puis aussi, il y a le fleuve de la Garonne. Donc, tu as des bateaux, tu as des restaurants sur le bateau.
Now he's going.
We
got him started.
Now we got him back to his hometown.
Et
l'expression, c'est le pompon sur la Garonne.
Le pompon sur la Garonne.
Aussi,
un monument, tu sais, c'est un monument. Le lion à Stalingrad, je sais pas si vous connaissez.
Bah
c'est un grand lion bleu, tu vois, à Stalingrad.
Les Girondins, c'est même devant, ouais.
Les Girondins, c'est à l'époque, le stade Chameau-Delmas, c'était une
R.I.P. Girondins de Bordeaux, which is the soccer team over there. They'll come back. But no, Joël, merci beaucoup. Thank you so much, bro, for coming. It was nice for you to share like your story and also like you being in France, you being in the US. Do you have any last word that you want to add before we close today's episode?
Not really, just thanks for having me. It was fun. It was cool.
Of course. Do you want to share your social media for people to like follow you?
On Instagram, just Joël Ayayi, and I think Twitter, I think it's like Joël_Ayayi, but I don't go on Twitter that much.
We'll find it.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll find it for you.
But yeah, and I'm not on TikTok, so.
Yes. Soon. Yeah. Why not, right?
I used to. 2020.
Too much time on TikTok.
Yeah, thank you for coming. Good luck with everything. Good luck with your NBA Summer League and stuff like that. Congrats on moving, because like I know we
Congrats
lived
to you too. Yeah, we're making it. We're making it. That's
Merci
it.
frérot. Thank you, brother.
Merci. Thank you very much.
Au revoir. Thank you guys for watching.
À bientôt.
And stay tuned for the next episode next week on the Rendez-Vous. Ciao.
Ciao, bye.